So one feature of your TV shows is bringing in new technology so we can look at the animal world in a different light, particularly your Miniature Britain.
Miniature Britain, that should have been a series, because we found this amazing machine called the Hyrox KH7700, which is an optical instrument which can do up to 7,000 times, but it's used in industries. But it's very small, extremely portable, very expensive, of course. But I thought, wouldn't it be great to take it out in the field and actually film really small stuff? Insects, spiders, fungi, all sorts of stuff. So we were able to take this to the Highlands of Scotland, to the beach, to fields, all over the place, and produce some staggering HD film of really, really small things. And I thought it would have been a series. It would just come back again and again and again, Miniature Britain 2, Miniature Britain 3. But they thought it was a one-horse show, because once you've seen the machine and you've seen how it worked, there isn't anything new to it. So audiences almost demand something new, which is funny because you see shows that are actually the same every week, like, How Clean Is Your House? It's the same format, week after week after week. They take samples, they plate them out, they show you the bacteria. But that's a different sort of show. I think the reason folks are watching that because they're going, God, did you see that person's house? I can't believe people live like that, But it's a shame. I mean, I think certainly if I was to do an insect series, and I think they're crying out for one, because there's so much has happened. I mean, we're now even able to put a live fly in a X-ray beam and see the bits working as it's flying. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, we haven't ever been able to achieve that before. There's high-speed filming, which is just unbelievable. 5,000 individual frames a second. I mean, that's just amazing. So you can really see how things work. And on and on. So, I mean, I'll still bang away about it, and eventually, hopefully, somebody will say, yes, let's make a new series about insects.
What were your highlights from Miniature Britain? You wish there was more, but...
Yeah, more of it. Yeah, more of it.
But what was the real thing where you saw it? Because you probably hadn't seen these things at that magnification before. What really blew you away when you saw it?
Cheese mites.
Cheese mites.
We went to a beach area. We were filming sand and feathers and stuff. And we also sort of got hold of some cheese, some of that, French cheese. And the rind of this cheese is absolutely heaving, pullulating with mites. And we stuck it under the microscope, and it was incredible. I had some very funny interactions after that show, because one of the weird things about being on TV is it's almost like you've got Alzheimer's, because everybody knows who you are, but you don't know who anybody else is. People stop you in the street all the time and say, "Hello, George, how you doing? All right?" You go, "Hello." Do I know you? No, probably not. And I was walking along Piccadilly several months after this item on the cheese mites came out, and a taxi screeched to a halt outside me, and I thought he was after somebody. He came steaming out of the cab, confronted me in the middle of Piccadilly, and said, "Oi," he said, "my wife used to love cheese. She never touches it now." And I said, "Well, it's not my fault, really. It's only certain cheeses. It's only some of these really weird French cheeses. You don't get cheese mites in
your cheddar,
in your red Leicester." Yeah. Sorry. And then he just smiled, shook my hand, and then ran back in the cab. It's weird.
Well, at least it makes your walks to work interesting in the morning.
It certainly does.
So your shows, Lost Land of the Jaguar, Lost Land of the Volcano...
They were great. I loved those shows. They were brilliant.
What was it like working with, out there in the fields, things you perhaps yourself haven't experienced before?
No, it was a great... I mean, they were excellent shows. That they began because the BBC knew that natural history programming was becoming a bit staid. They attracted middle-class, middle-aged audience. They wanted to broaden it out. So they wanted to bring in sort of adventure, reality show type feel to it. Take some guys, stick them in the jungle. What do they find? So the first one was Expedition Borneo, which was shown as 5 half hours, and we went to Imbat Canyon. We filmed everything. We collected stuff. Then we went to Guyana, Lost Land of the Jaguar. We filmed everything. We collected new stuff. And Volcano was one after that. I mean, these were actually amazing shows because we had scientists on the ground, real scientists doing real stuff, collecting stuff, and showing the audience just what was involved in being in a jungle doing that sort of work. And it's not easy. It's hot. I mean, lots of folks think a jungle, a rainforest, is this magical, wonderful place with the sunlight streaking through and animals peeking from behind trees. No, it's pretty tough. It's hot, sweaty, dirty, but that's where lots of new species are. 75% of all the species on Earth are in rainforests, which now cover less than 6% of the land surface area, from a historical 14%. So we have lost a huge amount of stuff. We still know there's masses of things there. Most of them, of course, insects. Mm-hmm. And it's a sad truth that the rate that forest is going, even today with all the stuff we know about forests now, oil, palm, biofuel. Biofuel is not a green fuel. If you have to cut down swathes of the Amazon to produce biofuel, it's not very green. Fact number one. But anyway, all this stuff is going. Now we know we've described 1.5 million species on Earth. We know pretty much that there are between 8 and 10 million undescribed things. So if you want to be an entomologist, you'll find something new out very easily. That's a cert, because you spend half an hour in a jungle, you'll find something. But all these things, at the rate we're going, 100 years time, 150 years time tops, that'll be gone. So in fact, the reality is, bizarrely, that the majority of species on Earth will come and go without us ever knowing they were there at all. So we won't even know they were there. That's sad. But at the end of, say, Lost Land of the Volcano, we discovered 15 new frog species, 5 new fish species, a bat, possibly 2 bats, umpteen insects and spiders. Unfortunately, of course, the last week of filming in the crater of this extinct volcano, which was last active 200,000 years ago, when early hominids like us were just wandering across the African plains, and is now a jungle inside. We found a giant rat, a woolly giant rat, the size of a domestic cat. I mean, it has never seen humans before. So we're sort of filming it, and it's sort of looking at us going, "Hello, what are you? I'm a giant woolly rat." "Oh yeah, great. Just hold still for your close-up. Thank you, Mr. Rat." And it was nuts. I mean, this is a huge animal, undescribed. And of course, that's all the press wanted to know. After we came back, I did interviews back to back for about a day, and all they wanted to know about was the woolly giant rat, which is a new species. And I said, "Well, what about the 15 species of fish?" Yeah. And the bats? Yeah, whatever. And forget it. that was the headlines. The headline story. But it was a flagship species. It was a headline animal. People might go on to watch the show again and say, "Actually, wow, look at that! That was amazing."
So, working with we see you walking through the forest in your shows, and you'll stumble across something, and it looks like that's the first time you've seen it. It looks like you stumble across it. Is this what happens? Is this
absolutely,
really the first time?
Absolutely. TV audiences are very savvy these days, and I'm not a great actor. So what you want on TV is real. It has to be real. It's got to feel real. So what sometimes happens is if the crew know there is something interesting that they think I might be interested in ahead on the track, they will say, "George, sit down here. Do not come any further. Do not move from this spot. Here's a bag over your head. We're going to tie your head in a bag." They will then go and set the camera up in the right position where they think I will appear and see this thing. And once they're happy, they'll say, "Okay, George, come on." And I'll just wander. I have no idea what I'm going to see.
You stumble into their
setup.
Into
it, absolutely. And I go, "Oh, look at that, that's amazing." You can't fake that. You cannot fake it. When the genuine excitement and the drama of seeing something exotic. I mean, there's a great bit in Lost Land of the Tiger where I had been raking through a ton of elephant poo for about 2 hours, trying to find something interesting. There were dung beetles of various sizes, of course, but they were really small. And I mean, I was almost the last 5 minutes. I was said to the director, "Look, this is really not working. There's lots of stuff, but they're really small." And just with that, I dug my hand in and I found this enormous dung beetle, the biggest dung beetle I think I've ever seen in my life. And I was just super excited about it. And if they'd said to me, "Oh, we didn't quite get that angle or was exposed wrongly, could you redo that?" I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it. It's got to be real. And it's the thing you can't fake.
I think I remember one of your shows, you're crawling inside the hollowed out
the hollow
tree and a whip scorpion is on your face.
Yeah, whip spider. Yeah, that was interesting. I did that hollow log crawl in Expedition Borneo, but the one you were talking about was Lost Land of the Jaguar. We found this is 100-foot long forest tree that had just fallen over and was completely hollowed out inside. 100 feet long, hollowed out. So the inside of this thing was like a peat-filled tube, just stinking hot, dark, and I just had to go in there. There was no question. Now the crew actually said, no, I think we think that's a bit too dangerous. We don't want you to go in there. And
risk assessment,
heap of A4 about a foot high, And I said, "Look, I'm sorry, you don't have to film it. I'm going in. I'm going into this because I cannot not go into this log. Oh, there might be snakes and stuff. Oh God, no, you can't. It's just impossible. I said, no, I'm going. So you can film it or not. Bye. Head torch on, in I go. So in fact, the cameraman came in behind me part of the way and then stopped. He said, "No, I can't do this." So I had to take a small camera myself and actually film myself going into the hole. Yes, there could have been snakes, there could have been things in there, but I had a big torch. I could see, it was fairly smooth on the ground, I could see. Yeah, and there was amazing stuff in there. There were some things, there were probably, 3 new species in there that I hadn't seen before, but I couldn't collect them on that trip. But there were the whip scorpions, there were the cave crickets on the wall, there were lots of weird flies in there, lots of stuff. And it was wonderful. I crawled out, and of course I realised that I'd gone so far, I'm about 80 feet into this thing, that I couldn't, it was very hard to get back again without going in reverse. So I found a split in the trunk, and I sort of hacked away at it with a machete on the inside, and then asked them to hack a bit on the outside so I could sort of squeeze through this trunk. And it was just amazing. It was the most wonderful little habitat in there. I mean, very, very hot, steamy, full of bugs. And as the VO said, the narration, it's hotter than a sauna and crawling with bugs. George is in his element. And absolutely right. Mind you, I was covered in red, itchy spots for about a week after that. Obviously, I'd been attacked by lots of small things that had bitten me.
What is possibly your best encounter when you've been filming? What sticks out to you as whoa?
Chris, you do ask the hardest questions, and of course, if you want to avoid that question, what heaps of individuals say is, well, of course that hasn't happened yet. I'm still waiting for the big one.
But you're not going to do that to me.
But I'm not going to do that to you. Yes, I am. Hold on. What was the most amazing thing? Oh God. Well, I mean, when I made that program, Ultimate Swarms, I was covered in bees for the first time. Now I know it's a thing that's done regularly by beekeepers and various other head cases. To be covered in honeybees, yeah, but that was actually quite a bizarre experience. So it was for this show called Ultimate Swarms, and we filmed bats, we filmed carp, we filmed bees and stuff. And of course, the bit for this film was to have me covered in bees. So we had a swarm of about 80,000 bees, and of course, in that state, the bees are very easy to handle. So they applied the pheromone of the queen on my face and shoulders and stuff, and they just basically scooped 80,000 bees onto me. Unbelievable. It's like wearing a sort of furry, woolly, vibrating,
a jacket going on,
a sweater, and in fact hoodie, because it was on
your face as
on
well.
my head and face. So they're all sort of vibrating away. It's incredibly hot. I mean, it really is a very hot thing to wear, and heavy, of course, as well. That was probably one of the most amazing things.
So finally, we've got the next generation of budding entomologists listening. What would you say to them to convince them that insects and invertebrates are the best animals to work with?
They are essential to ecosystem function. They have a bigger effect on us than any other organism. They are the most diverse group. They're the most abundant group. If you want to find new things, if you want to make a discovery, that's where you'll find it. If you want to use them to do any kind of investigation at all, from physiology, genetics, behaviour, do them on insects. They're attractive, they're fascinating, they're the most successful organisms the Earth has ever seen.
Well, thank you, George, for joining us today for brilliant insights into the TV industry and your work. We look forward to seeing you on TV more. We're looking forward to some insect programmes in the future. And perhaps the excrement factor.
Oh, the excrement factor, yes. It'll be the crappiest programme you've ever seen.
So thank you very much, George.
Cheers.